I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to turn it over to Bridget, who's going to be hosting the event.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to our 60s themed kickoff for our 60th birthday or 60th anniversary, the diamond anniversary. So maybe that can be our holiday present this year, President Podell. Just kidding. So we're going to have some trivia that takes you through the 60s. We're going to be talking about MassBay history. We're going to be talking about the 60s workforce and the programs that we had at MassBay. And also we're going to just do a little bit of general 60s American history to go with everything. And we've got some fun pictures from the archives to share. Thanks again to the archive committee for all that. So our first question, and you can throw your answers in the chat, but like with all the other events where we have trivia, feel free to hop in with any interesting stories that you have that these might prompt. So who was the first president of MassBay Community College? Oh, look, we got that real fast. Yeah, it was John Mackenzie. Those are some rocking glasses, President Mackenzie. And where was the first MassBay campus?
I saw one answer.
Yeah, so one was in Boston. And where was the next MassBay campus? And does anyone know the address for Watertown? Because I'm seeing it in the answers, but just gonna see if anyone can remember that.
That's a tough one. All right. Well, I think I saw Reggie pop it up first, but it was 57 Stanley Ave.
Good. You guys know your MassBay history. So before the Wellesley campus belonged to MassBay, what was it called? Anybody know? Nuns were there. That's right, Chris. Some K was. It was a Catholic school. It's called the Academy of the Assumption. And there's a whole, someone did a very nice blog post about the history of our campus and how it belonged to the Catholic Church first. And they planned what you see missing is the main campus building. You see the Cary building there, but not the other one. They built that during the baby boom. And they had plenty of students for it, but their projections also said that there weren't going to be as many students. So they kind of overspent and then had to sell, which was to our gain because then we got it for cheap. The state did and gave it to us. So if you want to learn way more than you'd ever need to know, I can put that link in the chat right there. Okay, so next question. What was the name of the MassBay yearbook? Anyone guess?
Anyone here work in the alumni office?
I'll give you a hint. What you're seeing is a hint itself. No, it was yes, the green years. That's right. But does anyone know why it was called the green years? Does anyone have any? This is a question that I don't have the answer to.
You know, I was thinking because it was the first 2 years of someone's college education, their green years. That was what I came up with, but I'm not sure either.
Okay. So,
but I can tell you that the yearbook was first published in 1963.
Okay. What was the first year the yearbook shows a woman wearing pants? And you can just make your guesses. We've got some late 60s, early 70s. So here's some ski pants.
But really, This is what we're looking for. 1969.
Who here had to wear pants and not wear pants? Like who here of women had to not remember a time when they weren't allowed to wear pants? Does anyone did anyone have to go through that in here? Yeah. 1969 is when it started. So Wendy, you didn't, you
Rail
did,
track.
you had to wear, Nancy, tell us about how, like when you got to first wear pants.
So I was in high school and they finally allowed us to wear pants, but my legs were so long that I couldn't get pants long enough. So I had like these ski pant things that had like this strap under them that would pull them down long enough because the only pants I get long enough were jeans, and we weren't allowed to wear jeans. So I had these and they would like dig into my like the bottom of my foot, like into the onto like the arch of my foot. But at least I had pants on, and I could be like kind of cool and stuff. But yeah, that was me, and I think maybe I was. That's why I put 68 because I figured I was probably like a junior in high school when they finally allowed it. So, yeah.
Chris said that you were the inventor of the capri pants as a result.
And they all look like a capri on me, and that's why I won't wear them because I feel like that's what I had to wear my whole life with pants that were too short. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually, what's funny now is we've come so full circle that like I hate pants. I'm much more of a dress person, but I like that I have the option at least. Yay, freedom. Okay.
But LL Bean and Ann Taylor, I can order them online, but they never have them in the store. But I can at least order them.
So here's a fun little follow-up. What was the first year that the yearbook shows a man wearing a dress? That you can just guess that's not something that you would be. This is our 60s theme, so.
Sort of a dress. Not quite sure what was going on in that candid picture.
Oh, I just noticed the caption that says, I think Bridget Bardot and I have a lot in common. But they spelled Bridget my way, not Brigitte. I wonder why they says that he has a lot in common just because he's wearing a dress. I don't know. That's really
long
random.
shirt.
It's not a dress. He has on shorts with an apron in front.
I just do. Hold on. How do I get rid of this? Oh, no. Why am I sharing my screen? All right. I can't. I'm going to have to escape for a second, I think. I don't know what to do to get rid of this guy. Anyone have clues? Oh, maybe I push this button? No. Hey.
Hit cancel first.
Okay.
Or turn off virtual background for now.
Did you just go into my screen? I don't know why.
Sure.
Oh yes, I'm going to approve. Just go on in and take it away.
Well, while we're waiting, I'll still ask the next question.
Hey Henry, grab that middle bar and
I can't.
push it
Which
to the
was
right.
The WebEx controls is not.
what item of clothing were men mandated to wear back in the day?
I wonder if I can still do the. I cannot even do the screen.
Yeah, most people
My
wear
pants.
pants.
Has
That's
everyone seen all
Probably.
of my?
probably pants, Wendy. Yes, but it was definitely ties. They had to wear ties to campus. You had to have a tie, and apparently that was like a controversy or something that they like tried to not have to do. It was like a
Welcome. Welcome.
All right, so let's just take a look at everyone's everything while we wait for the tech glitch to go away. I like Reggie. What is your jacket? Does it have sequins?
I can't see everybody's I would love to share the costumes, to take a minute to, if there's a way, Henry, that we could share the people that have taken the time to participate,
Well,
the dress up.
Reggie, is that a sequin jacket? Tell us about your jacket. There. Oh, wait, mute it.
Reggie, that is fabulous.
I am loving that jacket, Reggie.
That is
Thank you.
a stage jacket.
Lori has her Beatles album. Lori,
I'm
what's
ready.
that about? Lori, tell us about your Beatles album. Oh, you're on mute, Lori.
Susan, can you look at the chat? I just sent you a quick note.
Okay, I think I'm all set now. So I'm ready to share when.
Okay.
I don't see your note, though. I don't see the note. Wow. This is why I should never host anything. All right, I'm gonna try and share my screen again. How's that sound? And let's hope we don't see the text my kids are sending me.
And I like Quillen, I like your flower power background. Super cool. And Carolyn had a good one too. That looked like a photo.
right,
Yeah,
so-
so there we go.
There's
So the
the
clothing
ties.
that the piece of clothing that men were mandated to wear were ties. And there was, I don't know, they didn't like it though. And someone told a story of how, like, if you didn't have a tie, you'd have to borrow one from like a stock of them if you got caught without one or something like that. I don't
Maybe that's what
remember.
these ties were for. They were just there in case you forgot your tie at home.
Did they
Okay.
dislike it as much as the girls hated the
Hated
dresses, though?
Yeah.
So this picture is compliments of the 1965 Green Year's Yearbook. So I think we're back in business now. Although, yeah, this is good. We'll keep it like this. Okay.
Okay, so before the Buccaneers, MassBay athletes were known as what? Does anyone know what our former mascot was?
Oh, I clicked the answer too fast.
We were the Tritons, which I like a lot. It makes me think of Little Mermaid.
Does anyone know why we changed?
I take it because not many people knew what Titans are.
That's a good guess. It's usually like the three, it's the three-pointed staff that, like King of the Sea, you'll see depicted holding, like a trident. Yeah, isn't it?
I think so.
I don't know. Oh, could be, because it is like a all men thing. I guess there were women pirates for Buccaneers. Okay, so regarding MassBay history, we're going to end each segment with a little bit of history of people who were here. So which larger-than-life professor started teaching human services at MassBay in 1968 and continued teaching for the next 48 years? Yeah, like a million people are getting this, of
Yeah.
course. It's Maxine Elmont.
Maxine Elmont.
Yeah,
And what was her favorite animal?
dog.
Yes, Chris
Okay,
got
so
it.
pick Reggie.
Yes, it was the. So, does anyone have some Maxine stories they'd like to share?
Reggie, there's
Actually,
too
I can
many.
share
I
one.
think- yeah, I think there's so many.
There's so many of them.
I have one. She used to run the potluck lunches at the premium campus, and she was famous for always bringing her chopped liver. And everyone was always wanted. It's a Jewish delicacy, so she wanted to make sure that we were culturally relevant. And so she would always have her chopped liver, and we would all sit around. You guys might have called it pate, but we called it chopped liver. But it was great. She was so much fun.
I have a fun one is she would call me into her office all the time for computer help, and she'd take
Yeah.
little notes on her little, she goes, wait, no, I'm going to get it myself next time. So let me take notes. And she'd take notes, and then like 3 days later, she'd ask me for help with the same problem. She'd lose her notes, whatever, which was funny enough. But one time she was looking for an email and she had Outlook open. And in her inbox, there were something like 50 or 60,000 email messages that went back to the beginning of time from people that had long since passed. It was funny. And, so I said, you don't need to keep all those emails. She goes, well, I don't know what to do with them and stuff like that. One time she was out, and I think it was Monica was helping her remotely. Monica was in the office and she was on the phone with Maxine and stuff like that. And I think I deleted something like 25,000 emails from her inbox that day. And she had no idea. To this day, she still doesn't know.
Right.
Oh,
She knows
love that
now,
woman.
Chris.
Yep, she does. Well, now, yeah, something's going to happen. I know it. I know, like a dachshund's going to hit me in the head or something.
Well, I just remember the year that I led the commencement brigade with her. So we both sat at the front.
You need to unmute Lori. Lori accidentally got muted.
You know what? Sorry, I'll never learn. The year that I led the commencement faculty with her, we were both in the front. We sat at the front, and the stage was much higher than us, and so all we could really see was the students' shoes. And so we sat through the whole ceremony critiquing the really high shoes that all the women wore. And she was like, I killed myself in these. Oh, did you see those? They're sparkly. And she critiqued, but I helped her. The shoes through the whole ceremony. Which, I'm sorry, I guess commencement is much more important than that. But leave it to her to come up with something fun, So that's all.
I love that story. I am amazed at the shoes that people wear at commencement because it's like the only place where you can put your flair in is your hair or your shoes because you've got to wear that robe. So people come up with interesting ways to show their personality that way.
When I first started at MassBay in 2007, Maxine was actually in our division. And we were the division of health, human services, and education when I first started. And I just want to say that she was a force for the Framingham campus. So if you people in Wellesley had something going on, she was like, she was the first one to raise her hand and say, we want that in Framingham too. We want that in Framingham too. We want that in Framingham too. And she didn't quit. She wasn't a quitter. She was a wonderful woman.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I think force is a perfect description for Maxine. And I was thinking about when I first started 5 years ago, it was her last year. And the president at the time, Eve, had been invited to a conference and Maxine was getting an award and Eve couldn't go. So I was lucky enough to accompany Maxine to this conference. And she was unbelievable. I mean, I would get up in the morning, 8-ish, whatever, and I'd come out of my room ready to go. She was already gone. She was up till all hours of the night, losing her cane, like she was famous for losing her cane. And then on the way back, they put us in the last row of the plane, the last row. And so I spoke to them thinking I was being, really helpful and, looking out for Maxine. And I mentioned, I mentioned, and I mentioned her age, I have a woman who's this old, 90 something. And I said, please watch out for us. And they walked away and she tapped me and she said, Karen, she said, people do not need to know my age, so here I am feeling all proud. And she just was, she was really, really amazing. I mean, she made me feel like I was like 1,000 years old, so she was a delight. She was a pistol.
Yeah, she certainly was. Carrie, we do have a quote that we found from a former student. Carrie, do you have it, or do you?
I do.
Oh, good.
So I just want to share something because that's what Maxine was all about, was our students. So Amanda Cataldo in 2017, what she said about Maxine. She said, Maxine has changed thousands of students' lives throughout her tenure as a professor at MassBay, including mine. Maxine was more than a professor to me. She was a mentor, a friend, and someone who I inspire to be one day. She was a force of nature, someone who should not be messed with. I will forever treasure the photos, the laughs, and the inspiring advice she has given me. She will be sorely missed and never forgotten. And that was Amanda Cataldo, one of her students.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I survived trying to teach her how to use Bluetooth.
Can't even imagine.
I don't even know how to use Bluetooth. No, I kind of do, I guess. Okay, so our next segment is the workforce and MassBay programs of study from the 60s. So our first question is, when was the first graduating class of MassBay? What year did they walk?
We have 1963, 1962, 1961.
1963. You guys got it. It's like kind of math, right? If we started in 61 and we have, we're a two-year college, then 63. So how many students, if you want to guess, were in the first graduating class?
Now, I will say this number is not an exact science. We got this number from me counting all the people I saw in the yearbook, plus the additional names. So, by the way, that stands for most of these questions. We're not holding our hat to any of them.
The closest without going over, like Price is Right.
So Chris Daniele just posted in the chat too, so that everybody can see it. The tribute that he made for Maxine.
All right.
Oh, Heidi is pretty close. Heidi is pretty close.
Heidi's getting there.
34 all the way up to
getting close. Chris Daniele getting colder. A little higher, Sheila.
Quillan,
all right, I get
you're over a little. So it's, that's very close. Max is very close. Chris, I'm sorry, you went over by 3. You didn't get it. So that it goes to Max. It's 172 in the first graduating class. So here's the really interesting part. Name a program in which a student graduated as announced in the yearbook dated 1963. What were some of our...
So there's more than one answer.
Yeah, there's a lot of answers here. Yeah, it's something like Chris said, a lot of people are saying secretarial science. Yeah, it was called executive secretarial.
I'm only seeing that one. There are others that people haven't gotten yet.
Yeah. Human services
Humanities is close.
There yet. Yeah. Humanities is close. It was more like a different general study, somewhere between.
Yep.
That's it, Lori. It was liberal arts.
Got it.
Yeah. Liberal arts. There was, in fact, no nursing yet in 1963. So we had 114 in the liberal arts, 24 in executive secretarial. The business administration had 26. Electronics technology had 8. And the first year. Oh, okay. What were you going to say, Sue?
I was going to say an interesting fact about the executive secretarial degree. By 1968, that program had branched into not just executive secretarial, but legal secretarial and medical secretarial.
And then Carrie, what are they now?
And now we have a similar program in health sciences. We don't call it medical secretarial, but it's on the same idea. We call that medical office administrative assistant and medical coding. So we have 2 programs.
And does anyone want to guess what year was the first year we had nursing program students? Oh, there it is. You don't
Wasn't
have to
really a
guess.
question,
It's
it was-
right there.
That was going to be a fun fact.
Fun fact, 1969 was when we started. And look at those nursing uniform pictures.
Fabulous.
I know the uniforms are awesome. Does anyone have any older like program stories that they want to share about programs of study from MassBay back in the day? I hear
I'm hearing literally the cricket.
or any old programs of study from
Well,
back in the
when
day.
I started in 98, there was still a court reporting program.
Mhm.
At the time, it was the only accredited court reporting program in New England. And as a result, we had students that came from throughout New England. From Connecticut, we had students that lived in Connecticut and New Hampshire and, all the surrounding states. And, it was kind of interesting because they used very unique software, and they used to use those, court reporting steno machines, the little, it's that person in court that's doing that clicking away that you have no idea what's going on. And you'd walk into their class because they'd have, some kind of technical problems with the computers, and there'd be all this kind of shorthand going on, and it just looked like it was you were stepping into a conversation on Mars if you didn't understand it.
Looking at our curriculum, historical curriculum data that we provide to NECHI every 10 years, it seems as if we had a number of programs start at the campus in 1974. So that program, along with many others, might have started in the early to mid 70s. So definitely hold on to that nugget for next month, but we'll talk about that later.
Can you go back to the previous slide that showed some of the technology thing? Because people had questions about, yeah, right, that picture.
Yeah, I believe that is a secretarial class. It looks like my high school secretarial class.
And it
typewriters for those of you who are under the age of 30. I don't know.
anyone watch Mad Men? I remember in
I've
Mad
had
Men,
used typewriters before.
Joan takes off she's like the executive, she's an office manager, and she takes off the cover of the typewriter and the telephone, and she says to the character Peggy, "Try not to be intimidated by all this advanced technology." And it's like this old typewriter.
Those typewriters probably cost more than the computers that are sitting at the desks today.
Yeah.
Sue, do you know what electronics technology involved?
So there is a picture in the slideshow that demonstrates. So in one year, the yearbook was really interesting. All the students of electronics technology took their pictures like working with technology. So in the slideshow, there's at least one of those pictures. It looks to me like it's manufacturing technology now. It looked like they were working on, I don't know, like radios or something. They're grainy pictures. It's hard to tell, but it's definitely not
Kid kind of stuff?
Yeah, something that your teenager could do now, for sure.
Yeah, they're soldering with the Heath kits. Yep.
For sure. But there were only 8 students there. It was really interesting to see that the greatest number of students were in the liberal arts program. And it seems as if it was slightly more men than women in those first graduating classes. All right, shall we?
Yes. So in the 1960s, community colleges grew faster than any segment in higher ed in America. So on average, how many community colleges opened every month, would you guess?
Heidi knows her. Heidi's hot on her 60s trivia.
Throughout the whole U.S., we're looking for the number for the whole U.S.
Our guesses right now are 3, 15, 17, 43, 5, 1, 39. The answer is not there yet. but close. There were four. Four community colleges on average opened every month in the 1960s, which
Wow.
seems wild now considering how that's the opposite of what's happening these days.
Mhm.
Okay. In the 1960s, one of the professions that gained workers was bus drivers. What percentage of the added bus drivers were women?
I'm guessing you all were just guessing these numbers. It's a percentage, so it's between 1 and 100.
Everyone's pretty cold. They're on the low end. Don't be on the low end.
Picture your bus driver going up, male, female.
Counting school bus drivers, yes, Lori. Max is close. Chris is close. All right.
Ready? Here we go.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So it was 75% were women. And so for the next question, to catch up on our time here, which class of 1969 alumna from the liberal arts program went on to win the MassBay Distinguished Alumni Award and served as MassBay's Director of Admissions from 1999 to 2016? Yeah, we got a lot. People got it real fast. It's Zona Raposa, and here's her old yearbook picture.
That picture is beautiful of Donna.
Yeah. Anyone have any stories they'd like to share about their experiences working with Donna?
When Donna used to call me, because her office was located on the Framingham campus, and when she used to ring my phone because she knew I was a dancer and she was a dancer too, she would say 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So in other words, ballet, tap, and jazz. Are you doing ballet, tap, and jazz today? Ballet, tap, and jazz. 1, 2, 3. And I knew what she meant. She was a nice woman.
Mm-hmm.
I just love stories of alum becoming faculty or staff within the community.
I'm not
Because
mistaken, Jim Regan, who was Dean of Students for a number of years, was also an alum, and I believe the same class.
Awesome.
Ooh, didn't know that.
They were really good friends.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were pals. Yeah.
He still
And he
teaches.
still teaches adjunct.
Yeah.
And he still teaches accounting at night.
He does.
Oh, cool. Very cool.
Donna,
Hold on, I'm gonna have to add that to the
Oh, sorry.
PowerPoint.
should,
All right,
should I
ready?
should I tell a quick Donna story, or is
Yeah.
that okay? So two things. So whenever we would have a big event like an open house or something, because she taught theater for so long in like K through 12, she would always say to me, "It's Oklahoma tonight. It's Showboat tonight." Like she would name it, you know, a play we were doing. But Donna has a great story about it was probably at MassBay, maybe Watertown, during a big snowstorm. She used to tell this story when she was an undergrad, and they couldn't go home, so the students slept at the school, and they made the boys sleep on like one end of the library and the girls sleep on the other. And she tells a story about being on the phone home to her parents saying, "I'm okay, I'm sleeping at MassBay. The boys are not near us now." She would tell it way better than me, but sometimes we'll get Donna to come in and tell her MassBay story.
That explains it. I definitely saw pictures of snowstorms and references to sleep-ins in the yearbooks, and that explains it.
That's great. All right. I love these stories. We have to move on to our next section, which is the 60s history. So, first question, what was the #1 song in 1961, the year that MassBay received its charter? Any guesses? Put them in the chat. I want to hold your hands. No.
Those are all great songs. You guys are guessing. Keep going. No Googling.
A hint.
It
A
rhymes.
male artist.
Hmm. No.
All right, should
Let's
we?
see.
All right.
When
here we go.
you are having a hard time, oh, I was gonna give a hint that way. Yeah, there you go.
Sorry.
That's okay. Tossin' and Turnin' by Bobby Lewis from Billboard magazine, and some of the other ones were the other top ones were I Fall to Pieces by Patsy Cline, Michael by the Highwaymen. I don't even know that one. Crying by Roy Orbison, Runaway by Del Shannon, My True Story, The Jive Five, Pony Time by Chubby Checker, Wheels by The String Along, again, another one I don't know, Raindrops by D. Clark, and Wooden Heart. And now at the other end of the decade, what were the top top songs from 1969? Does anyone know? There actually weren't
Surprisingly, no Beatles songs.
no Beatles in the top 5 of 1969. We have Sugar Sugar by the Archies, Aquarius, Let the Sunshine by the Fifth Dimension, I Can't Get Next to You by the Temptations. Oh God, that's such a good song. Honky Tonk Woman by the Rolling Stones, and Everyday People, which is another great song by Sly and the Family Stone. Wow, the 60s had such good music. They really, really did.
Sure did. They sure did.
Okay, the next question, moving on, is just if you would name the Vietnam took place between 1955 and 75, but of course was in the limelight for the most part during the 60s and then early 70s. Name a reason why the United States entered the Vietnam War.
Many answers, and Perry, I'm expecting you to jump in here.
Which was a lie. Yeah. Yeah. That's this is a hot but yes, it is a loaded question. That's right. That's why I kind of made the had nothing to do with Jane Fonda, Chris Daniele said. Ugh. To help France. There were a lot. Yeah, the domino theory of fear of communism, civil war between North and South Vietnam, all kinds of things. Yeah, Perry, you could write an essay. Does anyone have any?
I'll make you write an essay today, then.
Okay. But we couldn't not have a 60s question in our history. I mean, a Vietnam question in our history. So we put it in there. What major U.S. event happened on 11/22/1963?
And the slideshow, I'm just chiming in, the slideshow, the pictures in the slideshow were really moving, by the way. Like I was thinking I was sort of dancing to the music, and then the pictures of Vietnam, you know, sort of really struck me, but excellent.
Yeah,
We
this
are with
was
all these. Yeah, everyone got this one right away.
yeah, and then they dedicated the yearbook to President Kennedy in 1964 as a result.
MassBay dedicated its yearbook to him.
Yeah. And what other devastating event occurred in the 60s and on April 4th, 1968?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's right. This is the assassination of Martin Luther King Jr.
Yeah, and here in this bottom picture, MLK is talking to a group of students at Stanford University. Really, really moving.
And on happier, yes, we'll be ending with that. Happier note, what year was the moon landing?
Yep.
A lot of people got it. It was in 1969. We could say, what year was the Mars landing next? That'll be our question for our generation. Henry, it was not stated. Oh
you and your Scooby-Doo task force.
Okay, next question. June 28th, 1969, in the village of New York City marks what most consider the beginning of the modern day gay rights movement in the U.S., headed by activist Marsha P. Johnson, who you see there in the slide, a Black trans woman activist. What is the name of this historical event? Yep, people are getting it right now. Stonewall uprising is how it's termed now. And that is now a national monument. The Stonewall, President Obama turned Stonewall into a national monument at the end of his presidency. Yeah. And that's Marsha P. Johnson right there. Every time I think about her and how amazing and brave she was, I get a little It's I think it is, and it's got a big marker on it. Judith, it's got a big marker on it now, and it's a national monument. It's like it's come a long way. Okay. And next question, how are we doing on time, Carrie? Are we doing okay?
We're a little behind, as I texted you.
Yeah. Okay.
It's 1:41.
Yeah, we've got just a couple questions left.
Right. So in
And then
December,
we'll be grading everybody.
in December 1969, the ARPA, which means Advanced Research Projects Agency, goes online, connecting 4 major U.S. universities. Designed for research, education, and government organizations, it is the foundation upon what was eventually built. These are the Terminator, Web 1.0. Max said, I thought it was Al Gore. And other people are saying it was the precursor to the internet, and that is correct. eBay. That's a good guess. Okay, and finally, which esteemed MassBay history professor was a lead participant in the lunch counter sit-in protests during the 1960s that led to the Civil Rights Act of 1964? And a lot of people are getting this right away. Yes, it was Virginius Thornton, Professor Virginius B. Thornton, civil rights student leader from all over the South. He was in SNCC. If you wanna, do you want to talk about Virginius, Sue?
Yeah, I would love to. In addition to having the chance to work with him in my first couple of years at MassBay, my favorite memory of Virginius, and probably the memory of everyone who had the misfortune of trying to copy something at the same time he was in the copy room, was that he would stand at the front of the copy room and just print, copy. And if anyone here, Bridget, you're not hearing this, shh, he would copy every page of a book so that he could give the book to his students so that they wouldn't have to buy the book, and he would just sit there copying page after page after page. And it was a time where we had just one printer, and I think that was the reason why we got a second printer on the 5th floor. So I appreciate that. We found a memory from former dean Jane O'Brien Friedrichs up on Virginius's passing. She wrote on his memory page that I have just learned of Virginius's death, and I am so saddened. As a colleague of Virginius at MassBay, I knew him to be deeply committed, consistently generous and kind, with a wonderful sense of humor. A moment that I will always cherish was celebrating the election of Barack Obama to the presidency. Virginius invited me and my whole family to the celebration. I was proud to share the evening with him. Again, that was Dean Jane O'Brien Friedrich.
And Sue, if you want to go the next slide, I actually just added one real quick. Oh, it's not showing up. Shoot. I don't know why it's not there. Oh, there it is. Yeah. So this is from our National Library Week event in 2014. Karen Delory, if you want to talk about it.
So I don't have that picture.
Oh, you don't have that. It's not showing up, huh?
I can stop sharing my screen and you can share.
Okay.
All right. I think I know what you were trying to show, so there you go.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. If Karen Delory wants to talk about this at all. For National Library Week, we had Professor Virginius Thornton speak to the students, do a living history talk. And here he is this is Virginius is in the top left-hand corner with Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King and other members of SNCC, which is the student, oh shoot. I'm losing my train of thought. SNCC was an activist group in the civil rights that made a really big difference in the civil rights movement. With
Karen Wright, it's
sit-ins
the
and
Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee.
Thank you. I couldn't remember. Which was actually what I'll stop sharing now too. It's what John Lewis, who recently passed away, the congressman. Congressman John Lewis was part of SNCC as well, and we have legislation coming up named after him that expands voting rights. So you'll probably be hearing about that pretty soon. So I'm going to stop sharing and go back to slides. Does anyone have some Virginia stories they want to share with us?
Hi, this is Karen. I'll say that was maybe the happiest day, most rewarding day we've had at the library when he came and spoke to the students. The admiration and the inspiration in their eyes, and it was bringing history alive, because it's one thing to read about something in a book, but to talk to someone who was there. And what a gift he was. And I'll leave it with that. He was a gift to all of us, individually and as a community and as a country. So
one thing I remember the most about that talk was how much work was done before the 1960s, and that he talked about that we don't often, we focus a lot on, when it comes to civil rights history, on the 1960s civil rights movement, but the work that was done leading up to that was also really important as well, and he did a lot of talk about that too.
Scary work, and the training they took for nonviolent action. They had to go through a lot of training of being abused and not responding to the abuse. Yep. And talked about that. It was he was an inspiration and such insight into a history. And the students really appreciated it. It was a magical moment there on the Framingham campus.
I have a Framingham campus, Virginia story. This is Karen Hansen. So a number of years ago, when he decided to come over to Framingham, maybe when he started teaching at Framingham, and he was monopolizing our copy machine. So I'm getting ready for my class, and I'm like, Virginius, look, buddy, let me show you something. So I marched him into my office. I opened Google, and I put in Virginius Thornton. And his eyes got so wide. And he said, can I sit here for a while? And he just went through. He had no idea of how many pictures he could find of himself, and, you know, all the things like at Chris Daniele, that picture, you know, came up on Google, and he was just like starstruck. And I'm like, see, you can just go here and look, print, and just print it there. You don't have to go to, you know, copy the whole book anymore. And the next day he was at the copy machine.
You know,
he learned Google.
There's a funny story that is a compliment to that story, Karen. One time when IT was updating computers, I can't remember who was working for us at the time in IT, but they went into his office and said, there's no computer here. And later they just found it was just buried under stacks of newspapers and books and stuff. He never used it.
His office, I believe, was a fire trap. I mean, it was scary. It was wall to wall paper. It was great.
I have a story about his office. I'm sorry. Oops. Go ahead. No, I just wanted to piggyback on what Chris just said, because I met him outside his office when I first started. And he was so friendly and amenable. Anyway, he said, there's this book I want you to have. And he went into his office, and I thought, oh my God. But he seemed to know where everything was. It was just amazing.
I'll just put it at the library, he would never let us discard a book. There was never one book that could be discarded. And he took out several. He didn't really sneak them out. We knew he was taking them down to the copy room.
Those are great stories.
Thank you. Days.
Well, thank you, everyone. This wraps up our 1960s retro look back. Before we all wave goodbye and peace out, I want to thank again everyone who helped make this PowerPoint. And Henry, thank you. Sorry about that glitch. That was one glitch we didn't anticipate. Was me, really. But before we leave, I'm wondering if Jeremy, I'm going to put you on the spot. Do you want to talk a little bit about what's going to be happening next month when we take a look at the 70s?
Oh, thank you. Well, let me first give a round of applause to Sue and to Carrie and to Bridget for pulling it together. This was awesome. What a great way to kick off the celebration. You guys did such a great job. So much fun, and I love to hear the stories of the past. And you guys really made it fun for all of us. So thank you so much. That was great.
Before we go, I just want to say, did you all see my eyeshadow? I wanted to make sure everyone knew the makeup artistry I did for you.
It's mod makeup fabulous. I just also want to, if I could take a second to interject to say, I'm all about the students 100% every day, every second of every day. And I wanted to see if we had any students with us during this little PowerPoint celebration, if we could take time to acknowledge them, if they wanted to unmute and say, hi, I'm so-and-so from such and such a program, if that would be okay. Because I love you guys.
Love to do that.
I love you and I miss you.
Hi, Matt Morey from General Studies, graduated. It's already been like 6 months. Oh my God. And gone by
Thank
that
you for
fast.
joining us.
Thank you for having me.
My name is Max Marangelo, alumni 2019.
Max, it's great to see you again.
Great to be back.
Oh, it's great. It's great to be able to talk about some of our former students and to have some of our former students here. This is wonderful, and to bring it all together to this community that we've been a part of for 60 years, all in.
Hi, I'm Dorothy. I'm doing my prereq at MassBay Community College for the AJ nursing program.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you so much for coming. I hope you liked learning a little bit about the history of the school, because it's pretty fun.
Well, thank you.
And hi, Ryan. Thank you for coming as well. I see you were in the chat.
I know that we only have a couple more minutes left, but it's great. I'm glad we got a chance to recognize and say hello to our students that are with us. I know we have alums with us. I think we set the bar very high for the next decades, but we're lucky to have a very talented and devoted 60th anniversary committee. So certainly more to come. We'll be doing this every month through the end of the academic year, leading up to a very special event in September that we'll talk about more. So I don't know how we're going to top it, but you will hear more from us. Keep an eye out for emails. If anybody would like to join the 60th anniversary committee, you are more than welcome. Good ideas are always welcome. And I will give you just a quick preview. As I understand it, the little bird told me that I think the 70s planning committee is considering a Name That Tune game. So you'll have to dust off your albums and join us for that. But more information to come. So thank you, Sue, for letting me give a plug for next time.
No problem. Thank you for joining. We will see you all around campus, and we'll see you next month when we celebrate the 70s. Take care, everybody. Have a great weekend.
Bye.
Peace out.
Thank you, Sue and Bridget.
Thanks, everybody. This was fun.
Bye.
Thanks for
Bridget,
coming.
Carrie.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you, Henry.
Yeah. Oh, Henry.
Of course. No worries. Sorry about
Love
that.
everyone's
You know what,
outfits
you're so
too.
fantastic.
Great dress, Karen Britton. Very funky and mod.
Love the dress.
Oh, I love the color block.
That's awesome.
funny.
If anybody wants to study for the 70s music, I own the entire 31 double CD set of Sounds of the 70s from Time Life.
I don't doubt that.
All right, looks like
Do
we'll be
you have-
seeing you in that one then. All right,
Do you
see
have-
you all later.
Do you have that on 8-track?
I do have some 8 tracks, not that particular one though.
All right, time to go.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.